And welcome to the webinar on marketing automation. And we have a interesting brand and a person here today with us. And before that, I would like to take I would like to thank Exclusive for putting this together, and also a warm welcome for all the. This is probably you are in it because you're probably an exclusive customer, or probably are looking to. So this is what we are going to be looking at today. And good morning, Anand. Good morning, Mr. Anirban.
Yeah, good morning, Bala. Good morning, Anirban. Yeah. Thanks for joining in.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Mr. Anirban, thanks a lot for joining in. We can have your video and audio on now, please. And for the benefit of the audience, Wellness Forever is one of the leading brands in the health and wellness space in India. They have over 180 outlets, primarily in the West, but also across other parts of India as well. They have been a thought leader in the space, and the format that they've done is very unique, and that's something that we'll hear from Anirban as well. Mr. Anirban heads the e-commerce and digital efforts of Wellness Forever, and he's been at the forefront of making the change from a physical retailer to an online retailer. So no better person than Mr. Anirban to hear about the marketing automation from us today, for us today. And also, Mr. Anirban is an ISB grad. He's been an entrepreneur, started a tech startup, then he has moved on, and he's worked with larger tech companies and product companies, and now he's heading this digital and e-commerce efforts for Wellness Forever. So welcome, Mr. Anirban, and over to you now for your presentation and your thoughts on marketing automation, and then we'll take it up from there. I'd like to have a hi from all the audience for Mr. Anirban and all of us here, please. We have audiences joining in. Thanks a lot for joining. Over to you, Mr. Anirban.
Thanks, Bala. Thanks for the great welcome. Friends, I am Anirban Chakravarti. I head the e-business division of Wellness Forever, and I also recently built the entire digital platform which enables us to do hyperlocal. So I will elaborate on that. So first, a little about myself. That I am, of course, as Bala introduced, I am an ISB grad, and I also have a very deep tech background. So I have worked in both businesses and technology. And the challenge when I joined Wellness Forever a year back was to how to marry the two experiences, because they wanted to build a solid e-business capability with hyper-local properties. So they were not too much interested in going e-commerce way, but they were more interested in how to leverage the stores on a digital platform so that we can increase our business. So the model we came with is the hyperlocal model, where we basically converted 170 of our stores into 170 nodes or hubs. Basically, now each of our store catered to 8-kilometer radius across 8-kilometer radius across the stores and serve the customers through the app. So that increased our business quite a bit, because now customers from earlier were restricted to only 2 kilometers, now could order for 8 kilometers and get a home delivery within 2 to 4 hours. This is very different from a normal pharmacy, where it takes competitors like Pharmacy or here, where it takes 24 hours for delivery, because we deliver directly from the stores and our platform allows that. So more about that later. So quickly, I will break this into two parts. One is that we will talk about the role of technology in retail so far, and this is more about my presentation. Then we will talk about how we adopted technology, how we internalized the technology, and what role did I will start with my presentation now. If you have questions, please put them on chat, and we will answer all of them before we. So good morning. So let's talk about first a few minutes, like what is technology in retail? Now, retail has been an early adopter in technology all over the world. But if you see, most of those technology were back-end processes like ERP, like accounting softwares, and inventory management softwares, because they improved efficiencies, improved and led to cost savings. However, slow to adopt, because one, in India especially, people have been slow to adapt to online. They have been it has been growing until the until the pre-COVID times, and also it was not very clear what will be the ROI, because ROI was very uncertain in a contactless marketing environment. We were more predisposed towards a contact-driven marketing environment, where we met customers, gave out brochures, spoke to customers, and of course the normal TV ads. So, but COVID-19 changed the landscape entirely. Overnight, contact-driven marketing went out of vogue. They could no longer function. You could no longer go to sample in a society. You could no longer go and spread that a new store or a new location or a new year has opened in, go to a society or go to a group of people. And the challenge came that how do we in this age be contactless and still keep marketing and selling as is. So that was a challenge. And of course, one of the things which came out is that digital marketing became the preferred mechanism to reach customers. But digital marketing is not a standalone work. It's not that you want overnight you go to a platform and just put up ads and it will work, until you have a thorough understanding of how contactless marketing actually works. So let's talk about contactless marketing. What exactly is contactless marketing? So in contactless marketing, of course, it's a pure play technology where you have outbound or inbound customer contact centers. This is something which we saw greatly increased our business during this time, because people did not want to come to the stores. They will call up and they will get home delivery. The second is, of course, reaching out to the customers through mediums like Facebook, Instagram, and Google Ads. And the third is the old, but earlier, again, this was one of the areas where people said that the conversion ratios were not good, or they were not very sure. Is a telco driven, that you send SMS campaign, you send Bitleys, which leads to your website and social discovery. But now all these three mechanisms have become the prime mover of marketing, moving from the age of contact driven marketing. So what is the role of automation? Now, the reason why we are having this is to talk about why we need automation in marketing, and how does it help us? So see, the whole idea of automation is to have tools like CRM, especially CRM being a very important part of the entire picture, because it is the custodian of your customer information. So having a CRM and automating the CRM is a key success driver, because they help us in understanding the entire customer life cycle process. That includes like how the customer behaves in terms of when does he visit your physical stores, where he visits your app, websites. If they are visiting your app and websites, you will like to know what they click, how much time did they spend, and the digital platforms do give out this information, but just having the information is not enough, and that's what I will emphasize on. So getting a browsing behavior, and of course the purchase behavior, that when people purchase, what did they purchase, what did they browse, and what did they purchase. And more importantly is that to understand, have a clear understanding of that if you did a campaign, if you did a price change, what was the customer response? Could you quantitatively measure the customer response to a campaign? Could you? And this helps in today's age when the contactless marketing is the one and contact driven marketing is not there. So I will not say one is more important than the other. What I will try to say that now only with contactless marketing we can actually see the impact which earlier people were not able to see. That that a campaign, a proper CRM or a digital campaign, or communicating to the customer the right way through telecom or other means actually brings out a customer response. So there is no confounding effect with contact driven marketing today. So it helps us to, again, so automation, as I said, automation is very important today to succeed, and especially in marketing to succeed, because the amount of data, and as I go, the amount of data they generate today, we all talk about data, we all talk about data lakes, data warehousing, but just having data is not sufficient. You can get a lot of data, but making sense of the data, analyzing it, then slicing, dicing it, and putting it in a right format, and that is where the role of automation comes through. And then it should help to make some instantaneous decisions that whether you want to change the price or you want to make the offer more lucrative, and the result should be that by making this intervention, by making this decision, more sales should happen, and we have seen that happening. For example, a price-sensitive customer, and again, when a price-sensitive customer is not, there's no label on the customer which says it is he or she is a price-sensitive one. It is again through the tools, through the data which has been generated on the customer, we analyze and then we try to understand the cohort, and based on that, a price-sensitive customer can be sent relevant campaigns with products which she may want to buy. Now, this can be also done manually, but automation helps you in the velocity. The rapid pace of change is much faster with automation, because manually there might be a lag in response, which is not there in automation. So now we spoke about automation, and we spoke about that how automation is very important, and why we need to automate things. Now, how do you get started? How do you select a tool? For example, if you have to select a CRM or any CRM, before you decide to, as a tool, no, I'm not talking about as a brand you select, but as a tool you select, have to select what are the factors you need to see before you make a decision on which marketing automation tool to go for. So the tools are data. First of all, what is the availability of data? Because automation will not generate data. Automation will only take in data and digest it. And so what is the data availability in the organization? How clean is the data? What are the data harvesting sources? Just if you have only one source, then probably you will not get the right result. So if there are 3-4 sources or 3-4 areas from which you can get the data about the customer, then it makes more sense. Then what are the planned interventions you want to do? How do you want to use automation? How do you want to make decisions quickly, or what are the matrices of the decisions or you want to make? That has to be clearly laid out. Then of course the outcome tracking, that the tool, whatever tool you choose, should be able to help you track the outcome, and you should be very clear that this is the outcome I am looking for, and this is this is what I will measure. Because often we don't measure the right things. We measure something and we make a decision that whether this is good or bad. But one of the things I have seen is that outcome tracking is one of the most underrated attribute, which is not taken into consideration, but has to be taken to make any automation journey a success. Then of course you have the ROI expectation, that you pay money for a tool, what kind of results it gave, what is the cost of running the tool, and things like that. And then of course, then you have the technology maturity of the organization. Again, very important. it is often thought that overnight you can switch from a contactless from a contact driven to a contactless. It does not happen that way, because we people, we humans are slaves of our habit, our thinking. It is not easy to change thinking overnight, something I've experienced myself, and I experience it every day. So it is important that we measure what is the maturity of the organization. Can the organization actually handle the automation tool you are planning for? Because if you bring a too hi-fi a tool which nobody knows how to operate, people will get frustrated and you will not be able to get the right result. So getting a right tool at the right time is very important, based on where as an organization you stand. So finally, the road ahead. So the ultimate objective of this automation, the marketing automation, the technology, all that has been developed, be it Salesforce, be it Exclusify, be it anybody, is that personalization. How do I personalize my offerings to a customer level? Earlier, everything was at a cohort or at a sample level, but now how do I capture data about each customer and give her the relevant products, relevant offerings, so that she actually purchases it and she sees what she wants to see. So personalization is a journey. Again, nobody has really cracked it, even for the matter Amazon, which has invested a lot of money in personalization, and you can actually get APIs from Amazon Web Services for personalization, but it is not perfect. It is something which is a learning mechanism, and that's why the artificial intelligence comes into play here. So AI is the next level on the top of automation, which will enable us to personalize the entire customer journey, and as a result it should lead you to more customer loyalty, because that is what we want. If again, as humans, we are slaves of our habit. If we find a retailer, find a store where it meets our expectations one time, every time, then believe me that only price will not price will not break the customer from your store to somebody else, because we want to be comfortable. We want to be in a place which is we are familiar with, and personalization helps in the familiarity. Of course, the entire year of automation to marketing technology, and on the top of it, automation, on the top of it, AI, is to make yourself more familiar to the customer and give the customer what she wants. So, having said that, this is the first part of my presentation, which I spoke about the technology part. If you want any, so Bala, should we have a QA here, and then I will talk about the wellness journey and the Exclusify journey and the challenges and other things, which is more practical and
sure, Anirban. Thanks a lot for putting together that presentation, and it definitely helps a lot. And a lot of people here today are actually small-time entrepreneurs, and who are having a probably single store, 5 store, 10 stores. They might not be having the large chains. Is marketing automation applicable for smaller businesses also, even if I have like 5 stores, 10 stores? What is your thought on that?
Sure. So today the best thing about is that you do not need to buy software as a whole. So see, there are 2 parts to it, and I'll answer both. One of the thing which comes when you have a 5 store, 7 store, that do I really need to buy a very big software? The answer is today you don't need to. Everything is a cloud-based SaaS software. That's number one. Number second, so that takes out the problem that you can do on a pay-per-use basis. The marketing automation tools. Whether marketing automation is relevant? Yes, very relevant, because the customers you have today, see, the competition is only going to increase. The customers you have today, you have to be very familiar with them, and they have to be very familiar with you. That is the competitive edge you need to have. That will be the competitive advantage. Not only, see, only price will no longer be a competitive advantage. As we are seeing, if you see the post-COVID, a lot of discounts have actually gone down. and still people are going and buying. And you can see the pharmacy, like the pharmacies of the world have slash discounts, or everybody has slash discounts, and still people are buying. So your success will depend on the familiarity the customers have with you. So irrespective of your size, even if you're 1 store or 5 store, leverage a SaaS-based marketing automation tool, make the customer familiar.
Absolutely. I think that's very straight message for you guys that, whether you're single store or multi-store, please look at marketing automation. Anirban, can you, also help us understand what are your different tools that you use for different IT systems? Like, you might be using a call center tool, you might be using a SMS or an email campaign tool. Of course, you're using CRM as well. Can you take us through your tech stack, please?
Yeah, so our tech stack. Okay, so I'll take to the next part of the journey. So I'll just stop sharing this.
Sure.
So I can share the PPT to everybody whenever they need it. This is for free for all. So so let's understand our challenges. So we are a pharmacy and a lifestyle store. That means we keep both medicines as well as lifestyle products, which are, but not groceries, lifestyle products. The challenge before us was twofold. One, that we wanted to go in a hyper-local medium. That means we wanted people to embrace apps and buy from us. Second, at the same time, we wanted that our store should be the one where the business should grow. We did not want to create a parallel system of warehouses and a parallel business. We wanted both integrated, which was very, very very challenging. That how do we achieve that? So that's where I was brought in. So the way we solved this problem was that so we have 4 or 5 different systems, and I will take the one. One is our legacy store-based ERP, which does the store billing, maintains the store inventory. That is one. The second is of course, we took it from Exclusify, the CRM, which is a very core piece, and I will come to that in a minute. Very core piece of our strategy. The third is our delivery management system. In today's age and time, if you cannot meet customer expectation of ETA, then it becomes very difficult. So we invested in a delivery management system where we had bikers logged in, and based on the availability of the bikers, based on the availability, the products were delivered within time. The fourth component was the order. We have the order management system. That is where we actually take the orders, and ours is again where we can take both TCOM orders, means like people calling in and they can place and the orders are taken in the same order management software, as well as through the app. It goes to the same order management software. So we have an integrated gateway. We did not want to maintain multitude of systems. That was there. So and then we had for us, and which we felt increasingly and maybe even important for the small stores if they're opening website, is a product information management. What's happening today is that a lot of customers are actually checking your catalog on the web or on the app or on your website, and then coming to your store. So they know already. See, the process of discovery has moved online. See, there are 3 parts to it: discovery, catalog, and then convenience. Convenience might be home delivery. Convenience might be going to the store and buying it. But the process of discovery and discovering the catalog has largely moved online. People are seeing what products you have. Even if you go to a Tata Croma, today, I bet you first see the website and see, okay, whether they have the products or not. And then you actually go to the store and test it out. But you have made the preconceived notion. So that is very important to drive the traffic. So we invested in a product information management system as well. So we got these 4 components together. And we integrated these 4 components to make our tech stack. Our tech stack is, other than the legacy ERP, everything is an open source tech stack, and we have used some of the very latest technologies available in the market for faster usage. And of course, it's a cloud-based system. So it is, and also what we have done is that for our stores. So we have given them something called a store connector. That means earlier it was very difficult for the stores to know which orders are coming in, because legacy ERP always does not show you. So we have given them an app inside the store that whenever the customer puts an order, they actually see the order on their app that it is coming to their store. Then they can process the order and the delivery guy can pick it up. So what you see at a Zomato or a Nykaa on the front end, or we have built it. We have built the best of the world in our tech stack, and this is something I have built over the last few months. Now, where the CRM comes in, and very interestingly, so when I started out at Wellness, they had contracted Exclusify, but Exclusify was not up and running then. And one of the first things I did is to get Exclusify up and running. And the way we thought about it, that there's only one global customer. For us, customer is one. He can come through multiple channels. He can come through website. He can come through the app. He can walk into the store. And for us, he is same. And we needed to know the customer and all the channels he visited in one place. So we made our CRM tool the custodian of customer information. We made sure that all data from all the channels are flowing through to the CRM. We know the customer is registering on the app, the customer is browsing on the app, the customer is walking into the store and making purchase. Everything I can see, and what he is buying, what price range he is buying, does he make returns, a lot of returns, and all those things all are in a central place, which is the Exclusify CRM we have. So that controls the entire experience of the customer based on when you log into our app, it actually hits the CRM and then validates and shows you the profile, shows you your old orders and other things. So we made it as a central piece. So it was just more. So usually people use CRM only for driving SMS campaigns or loyalty campaigns or giving reminders on birthdays. But we took one step further, and Anand can speak more about that. We actually invested time and energy with them to make it a central piece connecting all the dots about a customer and being about a customer. So our central motto as Wellness Forever today is that we are there for the customer. And we have only one customer, that is the global customer. There is no app customer, there is no store customer, there is no T-com customer. Everything comes in, every data is available at every place. So that is how we took the journey, because what we found and what it has helped us is that because of collecting all the data which we have now from the different sources, which was earlier not there, and we have 170 stores. So the customer may buy at store A today. Earlier, what used to happen is that if the customer bought at store A and then went to store B, there was no central record. So store A gave them a different ID, store B gave them a different ID. But what I did is that I brought in and I made it one global customer. That means if he buys at A, B, he goes to the app, he goes to the T-com, I know where he comes from, so I have much more information about the customer to make informed choices and give him a much better experience as well as offers. That is where CRM played an enormous role in our success today. We have at Wellness Forever, we have more than 3.5 million registered customer on the CRM today, and we use that data to drive sales, we drive traffic, and our marketing team today is totally contactless. They use the same data for driving digital marketing, for driving SMS campaigns, for driving Bitly campaigns, and even the call center uses the data to make outbound calls for selling at the end of the month or refill reminders at the end of the month. So that's how we leveraged CRM as an automation tool. And we have proud to say that we have been very successful in that.
Amazing, amazing, Anirban. I think yours is a story of a traditional retailer with legacy systems that has quickly adapted, and largely thanks to your efforts that you've put in as e-commerce head, this adoption and adaptation has been possible in the less than a quarter, right? I mean, you are pretty much live now with all your systems.
2 quarters. 2 quarters.
2 quarters.
No, it's 2 quarters.
2 quarters, yeah. So at this point, I think I'd like to bring Anand in. Anand, you are mandated to put, like as Mr. Anirban says, connect all the dots and put all this together. And we want you to share on how you did that and how easy or difficult it is for retailers to actually, automate their marketing processes by keeping CRM as the central custodian of data. Over to you, Anand.
Yeah. Thanks, Anirban, for the brief that you've given about Exclusive. So I would like to bring up a chat and how, all the pieces, right? So what happens in a traditional CRM is that we just look at the store data, right? In Wellness Forever, when we started the journey with Wellness Forever, it was just not the store data, but it was like connecting all the pieces together, right? People walking into any store, people purchasing online, and there have been instances of people even calling the call center to order, right? But we wanted the CRM to be the central database connecting everything together. So just to bring you the chat, let me just, I had a presentation, but let me just quickly go over to this slide. Right? I think this explains exactly what we have done in Exclusive and Wellness. Right? We have actually connected every single parts together. Right? We have an OMS, we have a customer lifecycle in the top. We have an e-com and wellness app, which is completely connected. We have a POS in-store experience, and then the product information, which comes from a different DB. Right? So. If you look into it, for example, e-com, the register email ID provide when a customer logs into an e-commerce website or a Wellness Forever application, right? The data comes from the CRM. It is not something which is stored separately. It actually comes from the CRM. For example, let's say the customer
Anand, we can't see your presentation slide.
1 second, Bala. Just give me a minute. Yeah, is it visible now?
Yes, it's visible. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys, I didn't realize the sharing was not on. So, okay. So if you look at this, entire briefing on how the integration has happened with Exclusive and the Wellness Forever, all the 170 stores, we're just not talking about the stores, we're also talking about the entire journey of a customer lifecycle here, right? So far, it has been just offline, but with the new norm in place, we are talking about people ordering on the phone, people ordering on the website, and also people ordering on the application as well, right? So we put all the pieces together where the Exclusive becomes a centralized bridge for everything, right? So anything that happens through the entire ecosystem, it happens, the data gets stored in the Exclusive DB and then gets pulled, or the data gets fetched to and fro, right? For example, one example is, let's say a customer's journey in wellness, as he's been a 2 years old client of wellness, where he's been going in to store A for he's at 20 to 30 visits, right? Let's say he sees the Wellness Forever website or the app and downloads it. So when he downloads, it gets validated on the backend database. And now this entire journey of whatever he's bought, entire history is actually tracked on the app as well, right? So the recommendation can also can take place on the app or the website, depends upon what he has purchased in the last 2 years, right? So this connectivity happens from the CRM database here, right? The same experience happens on the POS or the store level as well here. So let's say the customer has been ordering on the website and decides to go to an in-store to make a purchase for some reason. He wants the tablets maybe in just 5 minutes or 10 minutes. He wants it to be, so he walks into the store, and the moment he walks into the store, the in-store, the moment you update his mobile number, you get his entire history of, okay, what has he purchased in the previous past from from the web commerce site or e-commerce site or the app, or maybe from a store B also, right? So this entire journey is completely targeted. This is one part of it, right? So call center, there might be cases where people calling in and placing orders, right? This happens on a very normal basis. Even that customer journey mapping is done on the CRM side here. When you're talking about advanced, these are some of the reportings and all that comes along with the CRM and offering. Targeted campaigns is again, in brief, we do an automated campaigning here, channel-wise campaign. We also do an area-wise campaign, group-wise campaigning, product-wise campaigning. So these are different kind of targeted-wise campaigns that can be done. And when it comes to analyzing your data, right? The entire journey of how to analyze the data is also part of the entire journey here, right? So, yeah, Bala, just to answer your question, this is how the entire mapping on this, on the Wellness Forever has been done with us over here.
Wonderful, wonderful, Anand. I think, most of us invest in technology independently and keep it separate. And I think both Anirban and you have shown a way in which we can actually stitch everything together. And finally, all the investment makes sense. And Anand, is it like something, is this on a SaaS model that most of this has been put together, or how is it?
So, this is something, the CRM is on the SaaS model, but with Wellness, it's a different kind of arrangement because this is a huge DB that we're handling, right? So, SaaS model doesn't work out here, right? So, the DB size that, in fact, the journey has been, as Anirban has pointed out, the journey has been just for 2 quarters right now, and we already have built more than 3.5 million DB, which has been handled on the back end, right? So, just to give you an idea, we have more than 1 lakh transactions happening in a single day. That means every minute there are more than 100 bills or 200 bills being produced. Every minute more than 200 bills gets produced, right? So this, we have a separate server arrangement for Wellness Forever. It can work on the SaaS model, but in this case, it's a different arrangement that we got to them. Yeah.
Got it. So for smaller retailers, they can look at the SaaS model.
Yes, they can look at the SaaS model. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'll bring Mr. Anirban into the picture before I, hand it over to you for your presentation. Anirban, we saw the whole thing together now, how it works. In terms of the customer data, what do you do? What are your ways in which you understand, analyze, and use customer data that you have to increase sales?
So basically, there are 3 points which we look at. One is the channel preference of a customer. The second is the product preference of the customer. What kind of products they like. See, again, being a pharmacy, so most customers do buy some pharmacy products, medicine products, RX products, which is of course against a prescription. But with that, there is a top up of lifestyle products. So we look at the product preference, and then third, we look at the price preference. See, pharmacy, there is not too much of a price preference because nobody buys cheaper. But for the lifestyle products, you need to understand that even within a shampoo range or within a cream range, what is the where does the customer sit in terms of pricing? So using these 3 data points, we create a profile of the customer, and also we also understand again, a lot of repeat customers come, especially on the chronic medicine side. So if there is a repeat angle as well, which is a time angle, based on these 4 things, 3 data points and 4 the time angle, we decide on campaigns. How soon or how fast we have to reach the customer first, and what kind of offers we need to give. If there is a product with its price range or its preference range, then we kind of send offers on that product. So that is our main thrust.
And you have an AI engine sitting on top of this. That's how you do it. Or
I will not say it's an AI engine. It's an engine. It's a analytical engine, I would say. AI is 1 step ahead of that.
Yeah.
Okay. AI is something which most people haven't mastered. Although a lot of people will throw out the words like AI and all, it's mostly an analytical engine.
Awesome. So the other question we wanted to ask is pre-COVID, how was your, how much of percentage was online for your business? And of course, post-COVID, most of it is online. How you have changed? How has been your experience in this change? You being essential, I think most of your stores would have kept open during this, but many of the other retailers would not be that. What is your advice for them in this change?
So again, so pre-COVID, we were a very small person, because again, this journey has been starting only. I am just a year old at Wellness, and I have started everything from scratch. So we were a small percentage, without revealing the word, we were a small single-digit percentage of the sales during pre-COVID. Now we are a double-digit percentage. But as I said, that is only one part of the city. The second is that because we were available, because people could call us, because people could see our products, and we were essential categories, more people walked into the store. Because one of the biggest questions during the COVID, especially the lockdown we started in March 23rd, was that are you open or not? And most people did not have an answer to that. If you call landlines or understand whether you have the products, most people could not answer. And that's where the essential bridge was maintained by this digital communication. That yes, we are open, we have these products, you can buy online, you can come if you are not so comfortable online. Another thing which we saw interestingly and more during the lockdown and post-COVID is the rise of WhatsApp prescriptions. That a lot of people started sending us a lot of WhatsApp with prescriptions on them, with product list on them, and that has seen a huge rise. Now that is neither a digital nor an analog sale. That sits somewhere in between, because WhatsApp directly cannot be integrated into directly sale mechanism. You have to have a human translate it or check it out and all. So we saw a huge rise in that medium as well. There's a lot of old people, I would not say old, a lot of elderly people who were not very comfortable with apps or not comfortable with calling, started sending us WhatsApp, and we provided medicines, we provided essential commodities. So for us, yes, we were fortunate that our stores were open during that time, and we could do business. For others, as I said, that see, we are living in again a more uncertain world today. And as I said, that unless and unless you bring the discovery and the catalog online, in spite of that, the fulfillment may happen offline. That's fine. Fulfillment may happen online. A lot of things, fulfillment will still continue to be offline. So there is no problem. But the first two parts have to be brought online. We should not think that just becoming online only means that the fulfillment also always has to happen online. There are 3 steps to it, out of which 2 steps 95% will move online in next 2 years. The final step, yes, the stores will remain nowhere it is going, but people will come with the understanding what they will find in the stores, what are the prices. They might try to check out, take a feel of it, and yeah. So fulfillment may be still more at a retail and less on online. But the first two will be totally online, and whoever is not doing the first 2 steps will lose.
So, since we're talking about marketing automation, what's your strategy on digital marketing? How much have you probably definitely your spend has gone up in digital compared to vis-a-vis traditional media? How do you look at digital marketing now, and how have you integrated that into marketing automation?
Okay, so see the digital, yes, we already had a digital spend because of our app marketing and all. That has also gone up significantly because now a lot of contact-driven marketing budget has moved to contactless marketing budget. But the messaging has been the same. What would have been a messaging here? That we are open 24/7. You can walk into our store, you can call our call center, or you can download the app. So the messaging has been the same. The medium has changed, and as a result, a lot more people have seen that yes, digital marketing is expensive. Sometimes it is difficult to find an ROI, but if you don't know the actual what to look for, if you don't, as I said, outcome tracking is very important. If you don't put the right outcome tracking metrics in place, you will get funnel where I am spending the money. But if you have that, it has really paid us to you. We're reaching a much larger audience, and it is automated in the sense that, as Anand said, that entire customer information sits in one place, and they are the one who gets targeted also through a Facebook or along with the new one. So that is how we have done it.
Sure. The next question was, what is the kind of team that you need? I mean, most of the retail businesses are entrepreneur-led and driven, right? Promoter-driven. So if you are telling somebody, advising them on the team or the training that is required for going in for marketing automation and digital transformation, what is your thoughts?
So see, team again. See, this is how I'll put it. So you definitely need 2-3 persons in-house for sure. Rest you can always have a chain of partners. So that's what we also did. Although we are a slightly bigger company, we could have built everything in-house, but that is not the way we do. What I did is that I and my team, we designed the specs, we designed what to do. We set out the goals, we set out the objectives, we set out the design, and then it handed over to our partners to execute it. So by doing that, there is a capex cost, but there is no ongoing opex cost. I do not have to bear the payroll. The team size, the in-house team size remains very small. But whenever and when required, we have a set of partners to go to and get it executed. So that's the approach I will recommend anybody, than setting up a team inside and then taking the cost, and then that might not be a favorable.
In tech, that is possible actually, but get the experts, get the SaaS products, and put together a
Exactly.
structure and connect the dots. That's the job of an entrepreneur. So well said, Anirban. And thanks, Anirban, for all your thoughts. Now I'll hand over the baton to Anand. Anand has, of course, you heard from Anirban that Exclusive helped Wellness kind of do this marketing automation transition. We'll hear from Anand as what he's got, and Anand, over to you, and you can probably take the audience through, Exclusive and a little bit about your product that might help them as well.
Yeah, thanks, Bala. Thanks, Anirban. So I'll just briefly walk you through, since almost 12 o'clock. I mean, we're just coming to the end of the session. I'm just going to take you through the slides very quickly here. Right. So just a brief. When it comes to CRM, right? So we call ourselves as omni-channel, right? So doesn't matter the client is coming offline, because right now, since mostly retail stores are also moving digital, right? So that means now we have an online platform where you get leads coming from different sources like Facebook, Instagram, or from your own website, or your own application, right? Or calls coming in. It becomes very important that you put all these pieces together, right? You just don't look at your customers as a single point of view. I mean, the data remains isolated in one channel, and the other channel doesn't know who the client is, right? So it becomes very important that it's a omni-channel. So that means data sits on a centralized source, and the CRM plays a role of putting every single channel together in a single viewpoint, right? So that's the overall. I mean, this is what Exclusive we've been doing this for the last 7 years. We've been catering to almost 6,000 plus retail customers across India.
Anand, your presentation, if it's not yet shared.
One second, Bala. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So yeah. So in brief, what we do, what we do is that we actually help you to know your customers. We help them to analyze them and retain them in simple. Right. It doesn't matter which channel they're coming in from. So when you talking about know your customers, we say one unique identification for each customer across all channels. Right. We build the API bridge to receive customers' sales information from all the channels, and we also help you to display it. It doesn't matter which channel customers coming from. So basically, it is input and output across all channels, but from a centralized database. So this helps you to know your customer better. Second point is we help you to analyze the customer's history, right? When it comes to grouping, categorizing of customers, your purchase history, based on your product purchase history or preferred channel, right? I mean, you might come across a customer who always prefers to buy online or always prefers to go to an offline store and purchase. So when you look at when you analyze the data, you will exactly know through which medium or which campaign to target, so that it comes back again. So if you know his preferred channel, it becomes much easier to target as well, right? And also, what is the preferred time of the day where the most, we call it as a heat mapping. So we know exactly what time of the day the store footfall is very high, or what time of the day a preferred customer takes time to come and walk into the shop. So we help you to not only to know your customers, we help you to analyze them, and also the last part is we also help you to retain them using these various programs, right? So like one is a loyalty program, second is very targeted campaigning, right? So you know this person belongs to a very chronic disease, so that you don't send any of the campaigns to him. So you just send him the related campaigns for that chronic disease. So it helps you to connect with the customer much better. There is something called automated campaigning. So this is part of the journey of the CRM, so that it's all, without lifting your finger, you do the entire marketing, right? You just don't have to sit in on a day-to-day basis. Okay, today, what should I do with my customers' data today? You don't have to do it. So you program it once at the starting and you leave it, and the entire campaigning is kind of goes automated. Then you can do a group-wise campaigning. Then you have a browsing history-wise campaigning. This is very specific to online purchase or app purchase. So if you feel that the customers on a particular item on the website for more than 10 minutes, right? That particular event gets captured in the CRM, and then you can start your retargeting program. So this is exactly like your Amazon, right? So Amazon tracks exactly what item that you've been purchasing, right? And what items you've been looking to purchase. So you will be surprised at end of the week or end of the month, you actually get saying that, hey, this particular item that you're looking for, the price is actually dropped by X percentage. So kindly come back and buy. Right? So this experience we've gone through in Amazon or a Flipkart, but we've not seen that on an offline or a online other websites. So this is the experience that Exclusive kind of brings in. Then you have cart-wise campaigning and purchase history-wise campaigning. So this is part of the tools in order to retain your customers. So I think I've already taken you through the flow of how the entire mapping of customers is done when it comes to the play. So we can map the customers in store, we can map the customer coming to the online store or the app, or we also can map the customer to any Facebook or any social media profiles as well. So this entire mapping is done using a centralized database here.
Anand, there was a question asking if Exclusive can help put the product catalog online and integrate with the existing POS as well. Can you briefly answer that, please?
Yeah, sure. So product the very first one, right? You're talking about product information, right?
Yeah.
Bala, can you just repeat the question here? It's
not how can the retailers integrate product catalog to the marketing automation, right?
Okay.
And how can they integrate with the existing POS is the question.
Okay. So if we're talking about product catalog, right? So Exclusive, we have a system through which you can upload your entire DB of SKUs onto the CRM platform, and we have an online website. So if your product catalog is up to 1,000 SKUs, you can use our own Exclusive platform to showcase a catalog, right? So and we have different API integration for different POS systems, right? So we are already integrated with 100 plus POS systems across India. So if you're using one of the POS systems, 50% is that we already would have integrated with the POS that you're already using, like GoFrugal, or it's Wondersoft, or it's Marg or Busy. These are the major POS systems being used in the retail market. If it's one of the POS system which is already integrated, within one day, we'll be able to get your integration done onto the billing system, right? So that is one. And if it is not, let's say you come across an ad hoc POS where integration has not been done, and we basically give you the APIs for the integration, where the POS vendor will do the integration within maybe 2 or 3 days at the max, maybe 1 week. We've seen it. The integration can happen.
Sure. So I think essentially what you're saying is with their existing POS integration might be it's part of your already 100 POS you're integrated, so that's not a problem. And the product catalog can be uploaded, and if they don't have an online catalog, you will help them build an online catalog as well. That's part of your
Yes.
Awesome, great Anand. So I think you clearly put together as to what you have, and you also have something which is a unique deal for people attendees attending this particular webinar, right? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So I've just put the slide is right out there. So anyone who wants to try out a CRM right now, we have a 30 days free trial offer, and I will also put up the link on the chat window right now, right? So this is the link. It's on the PPT. So obviously, clicking on it will not be possible.
No, we can put it on the chat. We can probably put it on the chat, that chat box that is there in part of the. You can put it on the chat box on the Zoom tool. That will be easier for people to.
I'm just doing that right now. So this is the unique offer. So let me just go back to it again. Yeah, so we have a free 30 days trial offer for anyone who's willing to kind of try out the CRM right now. And I'm just putting up the Google form as well right now on the chat box.
Wonderful. So Anand, so it's no conditions 30-day trial?
No conditions, yeah. No conditions.
Okay.
You just have to fill up the Google form and we will take it up from there. One of our sales guys will get in touch and from there we get the journey started, yeah.
So at the end of 30 days, if we like it, we go ahead with it, or we kind of, we can part as friends, right? So there is no conditions attached.
There's no conditions, yeah.
And also the thing is, what does it roughly cost for a for a retailer to go on board with the SaaS model? You can give some indicative prices.
Yeah, if it's a single store, we charge around 2,000 rupees a month. So it's around 24,000 rupees a year is what it comes out to. If you break it per store, per branch per month, it's around 2,000 rupees a month.
Amazing. So that's what is the advantage, audience, that in the SaaS model, your tech investment is very low and you can, it's on a monthly basis. So you can see your ROI pretty fast. So definitely you guys should take advantage of this and, go to the chat box and click on the bit.ly for a free trial and use the free trial opportunity. And the free trial is only for the audience of attendees of this attendees of this webinar, Anand.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. So you guys should immediately take action and try it out. Try for 1 month, see how it's making a difference. We all physical retailers have no option but to go online. I think this is a good step for us to start moving online as well. And Anand and team can help you with the complete marketing automation and integration as well. So thank you, Anand. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank both you and Anirban for making this such an informative webinar, especially for beginners who are, who are in retail, who don't understand where to start, how to start. I think this gave a complete perspective. Anirban, thanks a lot. Maybe some parting words from you before we close for the day.
Yeah, so as I said, that it's not rocket science. It's a step-by-step process to go online. Only that you have to be very clear about what outcomes you are expecting. If that is right, then everything else will follow.
Amazing. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Anirban, and look forward to meeting you sometime soon physically.
Sure.
After the
after all this is over. Sure.
After all this is over, and all the best with your journey, and stay safe as well.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Bala. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Anand. We'll, I think, hold on the webinar on for some time because people are still copying the link. So maybe we'll allow them a couple of minutes to, copy the link. I hope all of you have got the link. It is put up on the chat box. And you can put up the slide as well, Anand, so that they can probably see it from there as well.
Yeah, sure.
Anand, I have to take your leave because I have something else. So.
Yeah, sure. So, thanks a lot, Anirban, for joining in. It was a pleasure having you here.
Sure.
Thank you, Anirban.
Thanks.
Bye. I think, hope the link is visible now. We had probably put it to only panelists, so yeah. It was only sent to panelists. Now it's been sent to all the attendees. Yeah. Yes. Please go ahead and click the link and make a registration for having a free trial of Exclusive. Thank you. So I'll sign off. We'll continue to hold on for some time for people to copy the link. Thank you, Anand.
We will also share these details. So we will also share these details in email. So we'll be sending a thank you email to everyone, and then
amazing. Sure. Awesome. Thank you, Vinay. Okay. Thank you, Anand.
Thanks, Bala, for joining in today. It was a pleasure talking to you today. Yeah. Thanks, Bala. Yeah.